What's going on? My name is Lady London, and I'm representing New York City and East Orange, New Jersey, all day.
So who was Lady London growing up? If we were to go into a time machine and go back to like the 90s and just be a fly on the wall, what type of child would we observe?
Mischievous, definitely. Always in some type of trouble. I feel like very rough kid, rough playing, rough housing kid. 90s, I loved hip hop though, so I was the same, like very memorizing Kim's lines in 97, rapping the whole Crush on You. Like I remember that.
You gotta be super young doing that.
Yeah, 3 years old, knowing like the whole Crush on You verse.
Was Kim the first artist that you were introduced to that you identified with?
I think Foxy might have been.
Okay.
Just because I love JAYZ, and so, they kind of came out as like the duet, like the male and female version of each other.
What do you think, being from New York and in the Jersey area, like how did that influence your sound?
Well, hip hop was born there, so it definitely had a big influence on just rap culture and just the idea that I have about music growing up, and that I still have, and that I hope to bring back to hip hop culture.
And what is that?
Lyricism.
Yeah.
Real lyricism, real invoking thought, concepts, things that make you go, oh, what did she just say? Okay, run it back. Not so much of the, what we hear now in a lot of rap. Not all, but a lot of it is very, bubblegum rap.
And was that from day one? You were always like, when I get into this thing, I know I gotta.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Of course. I don't know how people are gonna respond to it yet, but hopefully.
It seems like you've had a great reception thus far, right?
How does it translate into the marketplace, though? That's where we.
That's that business conversation.
Right, exactly.
Right, so we'll go ahead. So we'll transition. So I know that you came down to D.C. Howard University.
Of course, HU, a proud alumna.
Talk to me about your time in the D.C. area and what that meant to you being down here.
Howard made me the woman that I am. Honestly, I came into Howard a young girl, not really sure of who I was as a person. I think Howard definitely shaped and molded me. So I was here for 5 years between the years of 2012 and 2016. I bartended here right on U Street. Howard and D.C. as a whole is a big culture thing for me. I think it embodies a lot of culture here, and it's what my city is in a smaller, more compact way. But I think it's the Northeast capital of Black excellence, if you ask me.
For sure. And I think, when I met you when you were down here, you were always a hustler.
Yeah.
Like, you had jobs, like you was making it happen. So like, where'd that hustler mentality come from, where you were like, I gotta get it no matter what? Like, I'm not gonna wait for my hand to be out. Like, I gotta go do what I gotta do. Where'd that come from? Yeah,
I think that was really just the type of environment that I grew up in, especially just my mom was always the type to be like, you do what you have to do so that you could do what you want to do. Like, that was like her motto growing up. And so I remember, having to pay bills early. Like, so anything that I wanted, I had to just hustle for it. So when I was in school, I was working 2-3 jobs at a time, interning, whatever it took to get the new shoes I want. If I want some shoes, then you gotta hustle for them. So.
Facts. Also know poetry was something that was big for you down here, and a lot of people outside the DMV don't know how strong the poetry scene down here is. Can you talk about how that's like as a foundational piece for you in your art? What that means to you? So
I was doing poetry since I was about 11 years old. I didn't really start rapping until March of 2018. That was when I started to transition onto beats, but poetry is a huge foundation. It's huge in DC. A lot of people don't know. Like I said, this culture down here is slept on. A lot of people don't know how much culture is in DC, but poetry is huge. So I got my start at Pure Poetry in DC, at Pure Lounge in DC. I also did like Spit That, Bois. But I started to kind of build a name for myself around DC's poetry scene, and that's what kind of got me really into developing really good pen skills as far as like writing and with good concepts and things like that. So poetry is life.
I remember when you were doing that. Do you ever wish like you could just like come back, get away, and step into some of those spots and
just I mean, I'm going to one tonight. It's one tonight in Pure Poetry, so I just want to come catch that vibe again. But it's funny because now that I'm transitioning, I haven't wrote a poem in like maybe a year and a half now, because it just doesn't translate the same anymore. I'm so used to being in these freestyle and album mode and just songwriting and things like that, so everything's just different now.
So after college, then you move out to the West Coast.
Yeah.
Take your talents to the West.
Yeah.
Master's degree.
Yeah.
USC.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your experience out there and why you decided to even get your master's. Like, what was the reason why you did that, and then why USC?
Yeah, so when I was looking for research and master's programs when I was in D.C., I had already graduated from Howard in 2016. It was kind of that summer where I didn't know what I wanted to do yet, if I wanted to go straight into medical school. My undergrad degrees are in sports medicine and chemistry, so what I was trying to do is go straight to medical school afterwards, but I was like, you know what, I think I need to do the intermediate step, get my master's of science. So I was looking into things. I had been traveling already. At that time, I had probably been to maybe 15 or 14 countries at the time. So I was interested in global health. So I was looking at programs in global health and things like that. And the biggest program was the global medicine program and international health policy program at USC. So it was the only grad school I applied to. My mom was like, you're crazy, like putting all your eggs in one basket, you're crazy. I'm like, if I don't get accepted, I'm not supposed to go to school afterwards. So I studied for like 4 months for my GRE, got accepted, and so I got accepted November 15th and then flew out to to live in California December 28th. So it was like super quick.
Were you nervous about that LA culture and you know the stigmatism that comes with it?
I wasn't, because I didn't feel like I was gonna be in the scene that I am now, right? So I wasn't nervous at first, and I'm a loner to an extent. So I'm a Cancer. I'm very like introverted when I need to be, so I'm cool with solitude. So I was excited to go.
Something that amazed me that I saw that you did is you're also an author, right? So you wrote a book.
Yes.
How do we go from sports medicine, chemistry, to being like, all right, you know what, I need to add author to my repertoire as well?
Right. So in that time while I was trying to figure out whether I wanted to go to school, get my master's or not, I started to write, because I think my reality became difficult for me. Like what I was doing, I was working too hard and I wasn't sure what I was working towards. So I wanted to escape from my reality. So I wrote a fictional novel. To me, it was like the greatest like escape from what was going on. It almost felt like I paused them. Anytime I would stop writing, it's like I paused the movie that I was watching. So I sat in my house. I wrote my first novel in 6 months, 7 months, really, 6.5 months, from November to May.
What'd you learn about yourself in that process?
I learned that I could buckle down and pretty much do anything that I really set my mind to doing, which I knew before, but that was something that really stood the test of it, because I'm self-published. I did all the editing myself. I did everything myself. But you know, I like 100% profit, so that's just the way it goes.
Sure. So now that you've been out in LA, you have the master's degree, undergrad, master's, author, and then all of a sudden you kind of burst into the hip hop scene.
Yeah.
And it's just like, who is this young lady spitting out of nowhere with the crazy bars and all that, the car raps? Talk to me about how you transitioned from poetry and then now into hip hop.
It was hard. I couldn't rap on beat to save my life. Literally. I dropped a video a cappella in a car in March of 2018 and it went viral, like 8.7 million views, I think. Whatever, it just went crazy. And everybody was like, yo, just turn the beat on. I was like, that should be simple. I've been writing for all this time. That should be simple. I turned it on. I could not catch the pocket for nothing. And I knew it about myself because I know what I like to hear from other artists, and I just couldn't do it. I remember going to my friend's house at the time and I was like, yo, can you teach me how to rap? Because he, you know, did music, and he was like, I can't teach it. You're going to have to just learn it. So every day I started putting on instrumentals. That's how I got really comfortable with like doing the car freestyles and things like that. So I started put on instrumentals and just try to do it. Then I would listen to JAYZ's old freestyles, and I would listen to like Big L and Kiss and like all my favorite artists, and then kind of like study their cadences and study how they went about it. And by the time July, I would say like August came along, it was like, it's a wrap. I got it. Yeah.
Has that been the most difficult part of the transition?
No,
okay.
Definitely songwriting. Songwriting would definitely be the hardest part, because it's nothing like when you freestyle versus songwriting. Okay. A lot of people don't know that, but that's why a lot of people can either freestyle or make records. It's not both. So songwriting and perfecting songwriting is just like mastering any craft. Any craft that I've ever set forth to do, you have to sit and take time with it until you
What did that process, metaphorically, being in the gym look like for you when it came to songwriting? Like, how did you practice that?
Man, I was dying in the gym. I'm still dying in the gym at times. Dying, like pushing yourself to the furthest. So still shooting.
Okay.
Still trying. But yeah, that's why, you know, my project is taking so long. I don't have any music out on streaming platforms. So because it's still a work in progress. Yeah. And it's gonna be perfect. When it comes, it's gonna be perfect.
Yeah. I definitely get that, like, perfectionist
yeah,
vibes.
For sure.
How do you deal with the conversation about, like, oh, man, you're so dope. Where's the music? Like, how come it hasn't come yet? Like, I'm sure people are writing in your comments, like, yo, drop something. Like,
all the time.
How do you balance that, like, wanting to feed the fans, but then also being like, nah, I got to give it to y'all when I'm ready to give it to you?
Yeah, I mean, a Rolls Royce takes 6 months to be created, whereas Hondas take, you know, overnight or even hours. You know what I'm saying? They mass produce those. This is quality. That's what you want. You want quality over me oversaturating the market with whatever I come up with for the moment. So what I'm doing right now is I'm over recording. It's not that I don't have music. It's that I have so much that it needs to be narrowed down to being the very best of what I came up with altogether. So what I plan on doing is probably recording maybe 20 more records, and then I'm going to narrow that down to about 7 altogether. Okay. And then I'm going to put out that. And it may not come in a body of work. It may come in singles. It may come one by one. I may spoon feed it. But I know that when I do decide, it's going to be everything that I want it to be and how I'm comfortable with it sounding.
So one of the things I know about you is that obviously you're very intelligent, but you also have, you know, a business mind. You know, you're not going to let somebody get one over on you. And you also have ties to the industry as well, family ties. So can you talk to me about your mindset coming into this industry and how you think about labels and management and all of those sort of things in regarding to the business of who you are as an artist? Yeah,
I think your team is very important. It's critical to have the right managers, the right publicists, the right tour, whatever you need around you. I'm big on frequencies, I'm big on vibes, and I'm big on spirituality. So for me, if it doesn't sit right with my spirit, you as a person, you cannot corrupt my energy, especially going into this 2020. There's just new mindset, new visions. I keep the same people around me. Like, I just wanted to keep the same. But as far as like labels and just business-wise, I'm weary, of course. I've had several different label meetings. I really just, my bottom line is to have ownership in the long run. Because a lot of people, what happens when you're 40 years old and you can't make a record no more? You're 40 years old and you can't tour. And I'm using 40 as an example. That's not the end-all, be-all. But I'm saying, look, 65 and you know what I'm saying? You can't physically do nothing no more. Or your body just can't take 10 city tours. That's when you need to be collecting checks off the back end or your residuals or your publishing, your masters, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. So for me, I'm okay with taking the stairs for now, as opposed to the elevator. But I would love like an escalator. If we could just get like some type of middle ground where it's not so slow on the stair side, but not so, you know, automatic gratification on that side. Because anything fast leaves fast as well.
Gotcha. Okay. I feel like you just gave a lot of A&Rs out there hope that like, you got a little bit of a chance to go ahead and partner with
definitely.
you.
If everything is a negotiation. So if the contract comes right, then, you know, whatever. Me and my lawyer is like this. Yeah, so
for sure. I know that some of the greats from the D.C. area and the DMV area have also embraced you, Wale and crew. Can you talk about, you know, your relationship with that team and them being out in L.A. and how, you know, you getting into the industry, like what your relationship with them is like?
Yeah, Wale is he's so dope. And he provides, like, I don't even know how to phrase it. Like, he kind of gives you the game so that you don't got to go through it. Like, it's a lot that he had endured throughout his time in the industry, and he gives such great jewels to make sure you don't have to go through what he did. And then he got the jewels. He's a great guy. I love him. I actually just spoke to him yesterday. He's having some tonight, so I'm excited to see him later on today.
For sure. Yeah. I know you probably like the poetry vibe.
Oh yeah, we just like man, we talk about this stuff like, I don't know, it's like it's super science or something. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's my guy.
Do you remember the first person who showed you love that you weren't necessarily starstruck about, but you were like, oh man, like, that's what's up. They respect what I do. Like, do you remember?
I want to say it was Lupe Fiasco was the first person that I remember him being like, it's more than just words. Like, she's putting together, like, you know what I'm saying? I think, and Lupe is one of my favorite lyricists, you know what I'm saying? So I think it was him that was the first to ever recognize. And then, of course, like, I've been humbly starstruck for quite some time now with all the people that show love. Yeah.
So if we're talking lyricists, we just hit 2020, January 1st. So if we had to say your favorite 5 lyricists of the last 2 decades, so from 2000 till now, who would be your
I don't like this question. I don't like this question.
I want to set you up. Okay, so all right, we'll phrase it another way. Let's say you're in a cipher.
Yeah.
And you can choose 4 other lyricists to be with, you and 4 other lyricists, and anybody to produce it. Who's the producer? Who are those 4 lyricists?
See, like, the producer would change if the lyricist changed, if that makes sense. Like, for certain producers, I would say these 4 lyricists. For this producer, I would say these 4 lyricists. I don't know. This is hard. Of course, I love Tim. I love Swiss, London. I mean, there's so many producers that I could think of that I have relationships with that I'm like, I don't know. So I don't want to pick a producer necessarily. Okay, so well, JAYZ for sure. He's part of the last 2 decades. Me, JAYZ from 2000. Me, JAYZ, Wale, Los. I would love if Los got in one. See, now I feel like I'm under so much pressure for this last one. Damn, who's crazy with a mic? Everybody. It's a lot of people. I want to get another female in here, because that would make sense. I don't know, Dreezy would be dope. Yeah, just to have, like, female leverage. Yeah, for sure.
Dreezy's hard.
Yeah.
Where did the name come from, Lady London?
Yeah, so Lady came from Boss Lady. Like, when I was younger, a lot of guys like that I dealt with used to be like, Boss Lady, like, whatever. That's kind of like the run on. Like, who the fuck do you think you are, Boss Lady? Like, who are you talking to? So that's where it came from. And then London came from Lauren London, actually. Yeah, like, I just got respect for her and Nipsey's, like, the way that their love was. You know, like, it was private but not secretive. It was just like to me, it was a great bond. That's the way that I am in my own personal affairs. I just don't think it's an Instagram or social media spectacle. It's really just us. Like, it's our thing. So, grave respect for that. And then, of course, the dimples, you know. So, yeah.
Did Nipsey's passing really affect you and your artistry, or like?
I think it affected a lot of people, especially me being in LA at the time. LA felt crazy. But it was just the way that it happened, with the way that he preached about his neighborhood and the way he loved his neighborhood, and to see it kind of go out in front of his own store. So it was bad. But I think as far as affecting my artistry, it just gives me a keen eye on, like, the way that he approached business. His business model was like, you know, we see people like Jay and we see people like Master P and we see people like Nipsey, and it's few and far between. It's more people than that. But off the top, when you think of independent and when you think of, you know what I'm saying, generational wealth, that's what you think of.
Yeah.
So
I know you chose the Timbaland beat over the Nas record.
Right.
What made you gravitate towards that? Because we had an internal bet that you were gonna choose a whole record. So what made you go with the
Quietus Cut? My whole records keep getting flagged on YouTube, so I wouldn't have one child have to go out like that. But like I said, Timbaland has that pocket. He just has that. He's a special person when it comes to this beat stuff. So, whatever. But I actually heard this record driving. Like, it came on like a throwback, and I was like, damn, I remember this. I was like, this would be cool. I could probably do something on this or whatever. So,
and he showed you a lot of love.
Yeah.
Have
always.
you all gotten a chance to lock in or do anything yet? Or
no, not yet. It's all coming, I'm sure. Yeah. But we haven't had the opportunity to sit down yet.
Sure, that'd be fire.
Yeah.
I wonder what that would sound like.
Greatness, hopefully.
Crazy. And then finally, as we go into 2020, the new year and the new decade, what are some of the like the goals that you've set for yourself personally that you like? Not necessarily music, it could be, but like, what is something you set like personally, like you want to make sure you achieve these things in this next period of time? I
just want to stay grounded. I just want to stay grounded in solidarity and keep the same I don't want to say the same mindset because obviously your mindset grows, but I just want to continue to be me. I don't want to be swayed by popularity. I want to continue to be guided by principle and by faith. So in my ideal world, I would love to develop a routine. I prefer routines. Like just stay in my thing, keep my same circle, keep going to church every Sunday, keep growing spiritually. Like that would be my pretty much goal, consistent goal throughout the year. And of course I have some financial standpoints that I would like to reach. And I also have a goal for myself to put out my second novel by first quarter and at least a single by first quarter.
That's dope.
So between now and March, it should be it's new works in the way and coming on.
And when you're writing, is it the beat that you hear that inspires you, or is it the lyrics, or is it situations in life? Like, how is it?
Yeah, it just depends.
Because it's crazy. It's like, how did she come up with that? Like,
it just depends. It depends. I think everything for me, the first line is always about the beat. Just the way that it comes in is always like, however the beat is, the first line is like that. And then usually after the first line is written, I just play off the first line. Whatever I said the first time, and it could be nothing related to nothing. Like whatever I think of goes right in that pocket, then I say it. But everything else is just a play on words after that. And it's like a story. Yeah. I always think of it like storytelling.
Love that.
Yeah.
Any final words for your fans or people who've been rocking with you, people who are going to be finding out more about you? You know, what are some final words you have for them?
Thank you. I am nothing without you guys' support, and I thank you so much. And continue to rock, and please, please, please stay patient with me. It's all going to be worth it at the end, but thank y'all so much. Love y'all. What's going on? My name is Lady London, and I'm rocking out with Amped. Stay tuned.